60 amazing facts about Argentina. Argentina, officially the Argentine Republic, is a country located mostly in the southern half of South America. It has an area of 2,780,400 square kilometers. Its capital and largest city is Buenos Aires, and Spanish is its national language. Its official currency is peso, dollar, ars. Its 5 bordering countries are Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Paraguay, and Uruguay. Argentina is South America's second largest country and its largest Spanish-speaking one. Divided into 23 provinces under a federal system, its geography ranges from glaciers to jungles and from pampas to the majestic Andes Mountains. Enjoy these 63 facts about Argentina that uncover its history, culture, people, economy, famous people, and more. 1. Argentina's earliest recorded humans date from the Paleolithic era. Evidence of these ancient people is in the Cave of Hands. Painted around 9,370 years ago, the painting is composed largely of left hands and was made by the Toldans culture in 7,370 BC. 2. Argentina's original pre-Columbian indigenous peoples can be divided into 3 different groups. One group's people were basic hunter-gatherers. Another's were advanced hunter-gatherers and were conquered by Chile's Mapuche. A third group were farmers who made and used their own pottery. The Diaguita group was a trading culture conquered by the Incas around 1480. The earliest llama cattle gauchos groups lived during this pre-Columbian era. 3. The history of Argentina is entangled with that of Europe. Europeans first arrived in the region when Amerigo Vespucci arrived in 1502. Juan Díaz de Solís, 1516, and Sebastián Cabot, 1526, followed, and then Pedro de Mendoza founded the small settlement of Buenos Aires in 1536, but it was abandoned in 1541. For the next 200 years they would establish and either keep or abandon settlements. 4. The Argentine territory was subordinated by the Spanish Empire in favor of the immediate wealth to be found in the gold and silver mines in Peru and Bolivia, so as such it was part of the Viceroyalty of Peru until Spain created the Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata in 1776. 5. Argentina's declaration and fight for independence, 1810 to 1818, lead to an extended civil war lasting until 1861. At that time the country reorganized into a federation of provinces and Buenos Aires became its capital. 6. The name Argentina was formally adopted in 1860. It comes from the Latin word argentums, silver, and stems from a legend that it was a land of silver mountains. In Spanish the word is plata, and it was named by the first European explorers of the La Plata Basin. In 1862 Buenos Aires was named the capital city. 7. During the following time of stability and peace, tremendous waves of immigrants from Europe radically reshaped the country's demographics and culture. By 1913 Argentina was the 10th wealthiest country per capita in the world. The population grew 5-fold between 1880 and 1910. 8. With a worldwide economic depression and a military coup d'état, sudden, violent overthrow of an existing government by a small group, Argentina descended into intermittent economic crisis and political instability after 1930 that pushed it back into underdevelopment. 9. After several juntas and military leaders, Minister of Welfare Juan Peron was fired then jailed. His freedom and release was attained by a massive popular demonstration. He won the 1946 presidential election. His wife Eva Peron pushed the Congress to enact women's suffrage in 1947 and was immensely popular with the people. She died of cancer in 1952. 8 people were crushed to death and 2,000 others injured in her funeral procession. 10. The military rebelled again in 1955 and Peron was forced to flee. Military governments failed to revive the economy and a Peron stand-in was elected in 1973, paving the way for his eventual return later that year. He died in 1974 and his wife, who was vice president, assumed the presidency. She was deposed by the military in 1976 when the Dirty War began. 11. While applying harsh measures against the era's terrorists and anyone suspected of being sympathizers, they restored basic order at a terrible cost. From 1974 to 1983 up to 30,000 people went missing in Argentina, most of them killed by the junta. Their attempt to seize the Falkland Islands and subsequent defeat by the British finally discredited him and political rights were restored. 12. Democratic government returned to Argentina in 1983. In 1989, the first Muslim president, Carlos Menem, was elected. In 2001, Argentina had 5 presidents in 1 year. In 2007, the wife of the outgoing president, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, was elected as the first female president of Argentina. 13. Argentina, like the United States and other countries, is considered a nation of immigrants. Argentines sometimes refer to their country as a crisol de razas, crucible of races. More than 6.6 million people immigrated to Argentina during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the majority of them from Spain and Italy. Many French and Germans arrived also. Immigrants from Great Britain were also prevalent. There is a Welsh-speaking part of Argentina that speaks its own Welsh dialect. 14. Spanish is the de facto official language of almost all Argentines. There are several second languages used widely in Argentina as well. These include English, Italian, Arabic, German and Yiddish. 15. In Argentina's Corrientes province, Guarani is the widely spoken indigenous language that is included with Spanish as an official language. It is also one of the most widely spoken indigenous tongues in the world. Guarani words found in the English language include tapioca and jaguar. Quechua was the Inca Empire language in Peru and it is still spoken in northwest Argentina as well as by 10 million people throughout South America. Quechua words found in the English language include pampa, condor, gaucho, quinine, and llama. 16. Argentina's population is highly urbanized, 92% of its people live in its cities. The residents of its 10 largest metropolitan areas account for half the country's total population. With 13 million people living in Buenos Aires and its greater metropolitan area, it is one of the world's largest urban areas. 17. Education is valued in Argentina and the nation's literacy rate is around 98%. There are free public schools and expensive private ones where students wear uniforms. Pupil school students wear a white lab coat over their clothes so they look alike. There are no public school buses in Argentina. Students provide their own transportation to school. They must also buy their own books and uniforms. 18. It is traditional to travel home after lunch daily to take a siesta, an afternoon rest or nap. Many schools and businesses close down during these nap times and people throughout the country relax. There are even some few hotels in Buenos Aires that rent rooms just for siestas. 19. Important values to Argentines are family, education, personal relationships and prosperity. People in rural areas tend to be more traditional and conservative while urban Argentines tend to be progressive, outgoing and cosmopolitan. Honoring friendship and respecting elders are important values throughout the country. 20. Argentine families tend to be smaller than in other countries, with on average only 2 children. Divorce was formerly illegal in Argentina. Since legalization, there has been a rise in single-parent households. Gay marriage was legalized in 2010. 21. Multicultural Argentina has significant European influences. Not only are the cities full of people of European descent, but there is a conscious imitation of European styles in fashion, design, and architecture influenced largely by Spanish, Italian and other immigrants such as the French, German, and those from Great Britain. Buenos Aires is the center of the country in every way but geography. Many sections look quite European in architecture. 22. Fashion model syndrome is prevalent in Argentina. It is known for its cosmetic surgery tourism and it is estimated that 1 in 30 Argentines has had a cosmetic surgery procedure of some kind in order to improve their appearance. This extreme focus on personal beauty has led to the rise of anorexia, a serious, potentially life-threatening eating disorder characterized by self-starvation and excessive weight loss, in the population, making Argentina the country with the second highest rate of the affliction in the world, after number 1 Japan. More than 30% of the population has reported some form of eating disorder, and the number of men with the problem is on the rise. 23. One of the most well-known pieces of Argentine culture is the Latin dance known as the tango. This dance originated in Buenos Aires' slaughterhouse district in the late 1800s and combines African rhythms with milonga music for a sensual dance. Originally performed by the prostitutes from local brothels, the dance was originally disdained by those in high society. Gradually, as affluent young people came visiting the ghettos looking for adventure, they embraced the dance, and the tango eventually found its way into popularity in the mainstream that it today enjoys. 24. Pato is Argentina's national sport. Pato is the Spanish word for duck, and this sport originally was played by gauchos on horseback on the early 1600s with live ducks in baskets. It was the predecessor to horseball. Football, soccer, is the most popular sport in the nation. France and Argentina's men's national team are the only ones to have won the international triplet, Confederations Cup, World Cup and the Olympic gold medal. They have also won 14 Copas Americas and 6 Pan American gold medals. Heroic players are Lionel Messi, Alfredo Di Stefano and Diego Maradona. Other popular sports in Argentina are basketball, rugby, boxing and auto racing. 25. Argentina's women's field hockey team, Las Leonas, is one of the most successful in the world. They have 4 Olympic medals, 2 World Cups, 7 Champions trophies and a World League win. Argentine Luciana Aymar is recognized as the best female player ever in the history of women's field hockey and is an 8-time recipient of the FIH Player of the Year award, the only woman to achieve this. 26. Confiteerias play an important role in the social, cultural and business life of their communities. These little cafes abound in Buenos Aires and other cities, and some are up to 150 years old. The tango, billiards, cards and dominoes may be experienced at the local confiteria. Their menus may be as unique as their personal decor. Each provides a glimpse of the cultural life of the city. Over 70 of them are considered historical monuments. 27. National holidays include the National Folklore Festival of Cosquín, since 1961, in January, the Buenos Aires Tango Festival, since 1999, organized by the Ministry of Culture between February and March annually, the Encuentro y Fiesta Nacional de Colectividades, Communities Meeting and National Celebration, since 1985, in Rosario celebrating the diversity of customs in the immigrant communities in Argentina, Oktoberfest Argentina, since 1964, acclaimed as the third most important Oktoberfest site after Munich and Blumenau, Brazil, and Christmas, including Christmas Eve, Holy Innocents' Day and Epiphany. Argentina also celebrates El Carnaval del País, like Mardi Gras, 2 weeks prior to Lent annually. 28. An Argentine scholar began Argentina's Friendship Day in the early 1970s in recognition of the connection he felt to everyone on Earth after the Apollo 11 moon landing. It is an official holiday and a time of great celebrations of friendships, with people having dinners or parties or calling friends after work. In 2005, demand on mobile phone service was so great because of the holiday the networks went down. 29. Beef is a major staple of the Argentine diet. It is famous worldwide for its tenderness and flavor. Entertaining on the weekend with an asado, a barbecue, is a favorite pastime. On the asado there is typically beef, pork ribs, sausages and/or lamb. Argentina is the largest consumers of red meat in the world. 30. Mate tea is Argentina's national drink. It is a tea made from the young leaves of the yerba mate, a Brazilian holly. It is sipped through a metal straw called the bombilla. 31. Other popular beef dishes include empanadas, baked or deep-fried pastry pockets stuffed with meat and other ingredients, and carbonada, beef stew, served in a hollowed-out pumpkin shell. A winter stew is locro, with corn, meat, leans, bacon, onion, and potatoes served in a gourd. 32. Typical desserts include factures, pastries, pancakes, and cakes filled with dulce de leche, a milk caramel filling, candy, a shortbread cookie called alfajores sandwiched together with fruit paste, dulce de leche or chocolate, and fried cakes called tortas fritas. 33. Argentina's vineyards have been producing wine since the 16th century. Argentine wine is considered some of the world's finest. There are around 1,800 wineries in the country presently. Argentina is the world's 5th leading wine producer. 34. One of the world's true scenic wonders, Iguazu Falls is located in Argentina on its border with Brazil and is composed of some 275 waterfalls, forming a semicircle of 1.9 miles, 3 kilometers, of waterfalls. Some of them are as tall as 262 feet, 80 meters, and are truly amazing. 35. The town of Puerto Iguazu is located near the confluence of the Iguazu and Paraná rivers. The town is the closest to the falls and contains hotels and restaurants to accommodate tourists who come to see them. It looks across the rivers to Brazil and Paraguay. 36. The Iguazu National Park was created in 1934 and includes the southernmost subtropical rainforest in the South American continent. Some of the main falls included in the park are the Devil's Gorge, Two Sisters, San Martin, Three Musketeers, and Adan and Eva. It is Argentina's biggest tourist attraction. 37. The Iguazu National Park has as its goal to preserve one of the world's richest natural environments, with more than 2,000 species of flora and 400 species of birds with countless insects including a wide diversity of butterflies. This park is also home to many endangered species including ocelots, jaguars, giant anteaters, tapirs, jungle eagles, howler monkeys, coati, large toucans, broad-snouted caimans, Vacares ovaros, and several bird species. 38. Iguazu Falls and its national park are one of 30 in Argentina. Perito Moreno Glacier in Patagonia, a glacier that is actually growing instead of shrinking, is another national park and is the world's third largest reserve of fresh water. Other Argentine national parks include Laguna Blanca, Lanón, Los Alices, Los Glaciares, Baritu, Nahuel Huapi, and Tierra del Fuego. 39. Argentina is the top tourist destination in South America and Buenos Aires is the continent's most visited city. 40. Argentina's most populated areas enjoy a generally temperate climate, but the country as a whole has an exceptional climate diversity. It ranges from subtropical in its northern reaches to subpolar in the extreme south. 41. Argentina is classified as a high-income economy and its Human Development Index rating of very high is the highest in Latin America. It has the second largest economy in South America. 42. Argentina was a founding member of the United Nations, World Trade Organization, World Bank, and the Union of South American Nations, among others. 43. In addition to its continental landmass, Argentina claims sovereignty over the Falkland Island, the South Sandwich Islands and South Georgia, and part of Antarctica. Argentina sent a pregnant woman there in 1977 in order to claim that portion of the continent. Her baby, a boy named Emilio Palma, was the first human born in Antarctica. Argentina also held the first wedding there and has issued passport stamps there. 44. Ushuaia, Argentina is the world's southernmost city. It has a population of 57,000 residents. 45. Both the hottest and the coldest temperatures ever recorded on the South American continent have occurred in Argentina. 46. The world's widest street is the 9 de Julio, or July 9th, in Buenos Aires. It has 14 lanes of traffic with an additional 4 lanes of parallel streets beside it. 47. Argentina is a prime destination for paleontologists where the oldest known dinosaur species on Earth as well as the largest have been discovered. Remains of an Eoraptor that walked the Earth around 230 million years ago were discovered. So have been the Giganotosaurus, one of the largest land carnivores, and Argentinosaurus, which was 125 feet, 38 meters, long and weighed 160,000 pounds, 75,000 kilograms. The earliest plants to ever grow on land have also been discovered in the country. These liverworts appeared around 472 million years ago. 48. The chinchilla is Argentina's most endangered animal. Famed for their soft hair, millions were sacrificed in the late 1800s and early 1900s to make fur coats. They may already be extinct in the wild. 49. In the Uspallata Pass high in the Andes on the border between Chile and Argentina stands the Christ of the Andes. This state of Christ commemorates a series of boundary and peace treaties between the two countries and was dedicated in 1904. 50. Argentine police official Juan Vucetich made in the first criminal fingerprint identification in 1891. Argentina was the first country to adopt fingerprinting as a method of identification, and it was used to solve the murder of 2 children in a small town in 1925. Detective Eduardo Alvarez identified their mother as the murderer by her fingerprints. 51. The birth of animation is usually associated with Walt Disney, but it was actually Argentine Quirino Cristiani who created the first animated feature film. El Apostol was his political satire that debuted in 1917. It consisted of 58,000 frames and ran for 70 minutes. All copies of the film were lost in a fire in 1926. Cristiani also made the first animated film with sound. Paludopolis debuted in 1931. 52. Argentina has the highest number of psychiatrists per capita of any country in the world. Believed to be tied to the cosmetic surgery phenomena, there are approximately 145 per 100,000 residents. There is even a psychoanalytic district in Buenos Aires called Ville Freud. 53. Argentines spend the most time radio listening and movie viewing of any populations in the world. Argentina is the only Latin American country to have won an Academy Award as well. The average Argentine listens to the radio between 20 and 21 hours weekly. Argentina was one of the first nations to have radio broadcasting. The first broadcast was made in 1920 when only 20 Argentines had a radio receiver. 54. Argentina suffered the largest terrorist attack ever perpetrated in South America in 1994. A suicide bomber drove his car into the Jewish community center in Buenos Aires, killing 85 and injuring hundreds more. In 2005, Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio signed a petition for justice for the victims of the crime, the first public figure to do so. Bergoglio was once a bar bouncer and is now Pope Francis. 55. Counterculture idol and Cuban revolutionary Che Guevara was actually born in and from Argentina. 56. Political parties in Argentina have their own brands of beer. 57. Ferrets in Argentina are given steroids from birth. They are then groomed and sold as toy poodles that sell for as much as $150 US per ferret. 58. The Argentines herd cattle on the pampas, large grassy areas of land. Many are owned by gauchos, cowboys, who are the cattlemen responsible for producing all Argentina's beef. 59. Because Argentina is in the southern hemisphere, its seasonal climates are completely opposite those of the northern hemisphere. For example, Christmas occurs in the summer instead of in the winter. 60. Mount Aconcagua in the Andes in Argentina is not only Argentina's highest point. At 4.3 miles, 7 kilometers, above sea level, it is also the tallest mountain in the South American continent and the whole Western Hemisphere. Switzerland's Matthias Zurbriggen was the first to reach the summit of Mount Aconcagua and did so in 1897. Hope you like this video. Please like and share this video and subscribe our channel for more informative videos. Thanks for watching.